Imagine this. You open your eyes in a medieval castle. The good news? You're not a filthy peasant. The bad news? You're destined to be a knight. Congratulations. You're basically medieval cannon fodder wrapped in shiny metal. Welcome to knighthood. Welcome to knighthood. Your knightly career doesn't start with tournaments and glory. It begins at age 7, when your parents basically yeet you off to another lord's castle. You're a page now. That's medieval code for tiny servant in fancy tights. Your job? Scrub floors, fetch food, polish boots, and pray you don't spill wine on the Lord's lap or get whipped for existing too loudly. Childhood? Gone. Playtime? Only if you count cleaning armor as a game. Then, if you're lucky enough to survive your first decade, you graduate to squire. Which sounds prestigious, but really means human punching bag for an actual knight. You carry his sword, clean his stinking armor, and when he gets in a bad mood, guess who takes the beating? Spoiler, it's not the horse. Training is brutal. Dawn sword drills until your arms go numb, horseback riding until you fall off, and endless chores in between. By the time you're old enough to become a knight, you're already bruised, scarred, and probably missing a few teeth. And yet, people still call this noble. Finally, you achieve knighthood. Cue the big ceremony. A lord taps you on the shoulder with a sword, you swear some vows, and boom, you're officially a knight. The whole thing feels epic. Until you realize your prize is a lifetime of unpaid overtime. Sure, you get armor and a horse. But that armor is so heavy, you sweat like a roast chicken just standing still. And the horse? It's not your buddy. It's another expensive responsibility you have to feed before you feed yourself. Your small victories usually involve surviving tournaments without breaking your neck. Ah yes, jousting. The medieval equivalent of two guys strapping themselves to rockets and hoping they don't get turned into shish kebabs. Win or lose, expect bruised ribs and a face full of dirt. But hey, at least people cheer when you don't die. And for a fleeting moment, you feel like a hero. Then reality sets back in. You're still a glorified guard dog for the nobles. And then comes the real test, battle. Forget the paintings of glorious knights in shining armor clashing under blue skies. Real medieval war is mud, chaos, and screaming. You charge with your sword raised high, only to discover you can barely see through your helmet slit. Half the time you're swinging at shadows, praying it's not your own side. Your armor, great for protection, until you start overheating like a baked potato. Every step feels like dragging a dead cow. Slip once, and congratulations, you're now a steel piñata waiting to be cracked open. Meanwhile, arrows rain down, horses trample bodies, and peasants with pitchforks stab anyone unlucky enough to fall. Thought you'd duel another noble one-on-one? Wrong. Wrong. Most of the time, it's some drunk farmer with a rusty axe ending your epic career. Survive the battle. Good for you. Now comes pillaging. Burning villages, looting food, dragging terrified peasants away. The chronicles call it chivalry, but let's be real. You're just a medieval thug in shiny boots. And if you get captured, don't expect mercy. If your lord doesn't cough up ransom fast enough, you're tortured, sold off, or used as target practice until someone gets bored. So yeah, battlefield glory? More like a muddy lottery where everyone loses. Survive enough of that nonsense, and you reach knightly adulthood, which is just code for more problems. Maybe you're rewarded with a patch of land. Sounds noble. Except it's mostly mud, angry peasants, and taxes you have to collect for your lord. Congratulations, you're now a medieval debt collector with a sword. Marriage? Don't even think about romance. Your wife is chosen in some political deal. She might be 12, or 45, or your cousin. Love isn't part of the equation, heirs are. You produce a child or two, then get right back on your horse to risk dying again. And legacy? Forget about it. Unless you're Richard the Lionheart, history won't remember you. Your most significant achievement may not be surviving dysentery before 35, and that's about as close to a miracle as it gets. And then, the slow decline. Your once proud armor is rusting in the corner. Your sword arm shakes too much even to lift a goblet. The same peasants who once bowed to you now mutter about how you bled them dry with taxes. And the lords you fought for? They've already replaced you with some younger idiot eager to die in your place. Old wounds throb with every storm. You're basically a medieval weather forecast in human form. Your shattered knee, your arrow scars, all souvenirs of a life of pointless violence and death. Don't expect it to be glorious. Not in battle, not under a banner. More likely you'll die choking on sour ale at a feast or rotting in bed while a priest mumbles your last rites. The world moves on, and your name fades faster than the rust on your sword. In the end, all that chivalry and honor, just a bedtime story. You were nothing more than a pawn in iron boots buried under the same mud you spent your life trying to rise above. So that's knighthood. Less shining armor, more walking coffin. You dreamed of glory, but ended up a sweaty tax collector with back pain. Hey, it could be worse. At least you weren't born a medieval leper. Or, God forbid, a pigeon in Paris. Which miserable life should I roast next? Drop your pick in the comments, and if you enjoyed watching someone else's suffering, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my video with others.